I was the fake heiress who had been switched at birth into a wealthy family, and after the real heiress came back, I yielded to her in everything, until I realized that no matter what I did, the real heiress could always get double the benefits. The system told me that she had bound herself to the cheat ability, double rebound for the real heiress. If I scored a perfect grade, she would get a double intelligence bonus. If I lost 10 gene, she would lose 20 gene. Got it? You want to be twice as outstanding, huh? Looking at my increasingly haggard self in the mirror, the corners of my mouth curled up wildly. System, I want to do 2,000 squats every day to train a peachy butt. System, I want to drink 10 bowls of Chinese medicine every day to regulate my body. System, I want to donate half of my liver to someone in need, just a mere double, then let you experience the thrill of rhabdomyolysis, drug-induced liver damage, and being completely drained. I dug out that dusty tracksuit from the closet. In the mirror, I looked sallow, with dark circles under my eyes. This is the result of working day and night during this period to curry favor with the Lin family and avoid being kicked out. And Lin Wan, that real heiress, at this moment, she was sitting in the downstairs hall, enjoying everything that originally belonged to me. Her skin was rosy, her figure slender, and she held a bowl of bird's nest soup in her hand, smiling with an innocent, guileless expression. The system says she has the true heiress double rebound, golden finger. Whatever I do, she gets double the benefits. In that case, I take a deep breath and start doing squats. 1, 2, 3. The thigh muscles begin to ache, and lactic acid rapidly accumulates, but I didn't stop. What I'm doing isn't fitness, it's self-harm. I want to induce rhabdomyolysis. I want to fill my blood with myoglobin and clog the renal tubules. I don't believe her kidneys can handle double the rhabdomyolysis. By the 500th one, my legs had already started shaking, sweat dripped from my chin onto the floor, forming a small puddle. The door was pushed open. Lin Wan stood at the door, looking down at me from above. A flicker of mockery flashed in her eyes. Sister, still working out this late? Yeah, true, you really should work out a bit. Unlike me, no matter how much I eat, I never gain weight. As she said that, she even deliberately spun around, showing off the waistline that had become even more perfect thanks to my dieting. Panting hard, I ignored her. Keep squatting. 501st. Lin Wan let out a scoff. Save it. Some people are born to a life of toil. No matter how much they practice, they'll never turn into a swan. She didn't know. The moment she finished speaking, her expression changed slightly. She steadied herself against the doorframe, her brows knitting. The system alert sound was ringing wildly in my head, but I blocked it out. All I know is, my legs felt like they were filled with lead, and every step felt like someone was slicing into my muscles with a knife, but inside, I was over the moon. Does it hurt? The pain meant it was working. I suffer one part, you will suffer too. I have relentlessly completed these 1,000. The whole person collapsed to the ground, thigh muscles convulsing wildly, as if snakes were burrowing inside. I tried to stand up, but ended up kneeling directly on the ground. Suddenly, a scream came from downstairs. It was Lin Wan's voice. Immediately after came the sound of a heavy object hitting the floor, followed by the servants' cries of alarm. Second miss, what's wrong with you? Call an ambulance, now. Second miss can't move her legs. I lay on the cold floor, forcing a difficult curve at the corner of my mouth. Lin Wan, this was just the appetizer, double rhabdomyolysis. Pretty tasty, isn't it? I struggled to crawl toward the door, wanting to see for myself, to see what a sorry state that golden-fingered, heaven-favored girl was in now. Dragging my 2 useless legs, I inched my way to the top of the stairs. There, I saw Lin Wan collapsed in the middle of the hall, clutching her thighs tightly, her silk pajamas soaked through with cold sweat. She writhed on the floor in pain, letting out pig slaughter-like screams. My leg hurts so much, it feels like it's about to break. Her parents crowded around her, pacing anxiously in circles. Wan, what's wrong? Don't scare mommy. Hurry, get the car ready, to the hospital. I leaned against the railing, watching this scene unfold without a single ripple of emotion in my heart. I even felt a bit like laughing at that moment. Lin Wan spotted me upstairs. Her eyes were filled with resentment and confusion. It's you. It must be you who harmed me. She pointed at me, her finger trembling. I looked innocent and weakly pointed to my own leg, which was still twitching. Wan, what are you talking about? I just finished exercising too, and my leg hurts terribly. Maybe it's because we sisters are connected at heart, and I have a sense of it. What the hell kind of sisterly connection is that? What I want is for you to meet your end. The hospital was in complete chaos. The emergency room doctor looked at the test results, his brow furrowed deeply. The creatine kinase level is alarmingly high. This is a classic case of rhabdomyolysis, and it's severe. If you had arrived any later, it could have led to acute kidney failure." The doctor looked at Lin Wan with an expression of disbelief. "Young lady, how much exercise did you do? Even running a marathon isn't this extreme." Lin Wan lay on the hospital bed, her face pale with pain, too weak to even speak. She shook her head tearfully. I didn't exercise at all." My mother stood by, her heart aching so much that tears streamed down her face, and she immediately turned to yell at me. "Lin Mian, did you give your sister something strange to eat? She was sitting at home just fine. How could this happen all of a sudden?" I sat in my wheelchair, holding my lab report. My creatine kinase was also high, but only half of Lin Wan's. I handed the list to the doctor. "Doctor, I also did 2,000 squats, and I'm feeling terrible too." The doctor looked at my list, then at Lin Wan's. "Strange, your numbers are also high, but they're still within a manageable range. Your sister, it's as if she did 4,000 squats, and her muscles have dissolved into mush." Lin Wan suddenly looked up at me. Her eyes were filled with terror. She probably guessed something. "The golden finger the system gave her is double the benefits. I exercise, and her figure improves. I study, and her intelligence increases. What if I self-harm? She will have to bear double the damage." Didn't the system tell her about this backlash? Looks like it's a half-baked system. I gave her a slight smile and mouthed silently, surprised. Lin Wan shuddered all over and pointed at me, screaming, "It was you did it on purpose. Dad, Mom, she's trying to kill me, she's a monster." My dad frowned and snapped, "What nonsense are you talking? Your sister's legs have already been ruined from training. How could she hurt you? It's you who never listens when I tell you to exercise more. With such poor physical fitness, you can't handle even a little bit of a reaction. Look, this is favoritism. Even when the facts are right in front of them, they will automatically come up with a reasonable explanation." Lin Wan was left speechless. She can't possibly say that she's bound to a system that can suck my blood, can she? That would just make her seem like a lunatic. I sneered inwardly. This is nothing yet, since she's already in the hospital. That's perfect, it makes it easier for me to carry out the next step of my plan. The doctor prescribed a large amount of intravenous fluids for Lin Wan, instructing her to drink plenty of water and urinate frequently to prevent kidney failure. I was also assigned to the next bed for an 4 drip, watching Lin Wan suffer as the nurse attempted to insert the needle. It took several tries due to collapsed veins before it finally went in. She cried out in pain, wailing loudly. I, however, find this sound to be like heavenly music. Late at night, the hospital room was quiet. Lin Wan was asleep, her brow furrowed, clearly still in pain. I pulled out the needle from my hand. I quietly walked to her bedside. Moonlight fell on her pale face. I remembered my previous life. After the real heiress returned, I gave way to her in everything, giving up my room and my fiancé to her. I tried so hard to please everyone, only to be driven out of my home and die a miserable death on the streets. And she, stepping over my bones, became the perfect goddess praised by all. This life, I'm done bearing with it. I picked up the water glass on the bedside table. It was the soda water the doctor had instructed her to drink, meant to alkalize her urine. I drank that glass of water right in front of her, then I poured another glass and continued drinking. I just sat there by her bedside, drinking glass after glass of water. I drank until my stomach felt bloated, until I felt like throwing up, but I'm still drinking. I'm going to get water intoxication. I'm going to dilute the electrolytes in my blood. I'm going to get cerebral edema, double the water intoxication. Lin Wan, can your brain handle it? Early the next morning, Lin Wan was awakened by a headache, a severe headache, accompanied by nausea and vomiting. She clutched her head and rolled around on the bed, vomiting all the fluids she had been given the night before. The doctor rushed over to examine him. Hyponatremia, in other words, what's commonly known as water intoxication. What happened? Didn't I tell you to drink water in moderation? How did you end up like this? The doctor looked at the electrolyte report, completely baffled. The sodium ion concentration is so low it could cause brain herniation. Lin Wan weakly defended herself. I didn't drink that much. She really hadn't. The one who drank the water is me. I lay on the bed next door, also showing symptoms of dizziness and nausea, but I controlled the amount. I only had mild hyponatremia, uncomfortable, but not fatal, and Lin Wan, due to the double effect, is now at risk of cerebral edema. My parents watched Lin Wan in agony, their hearts aching as if cut by a knife. They immediately turned their anger on me. Lin Mian, your sister is in this state, and you're just standing there pretending to be dead. Go pour some water for your sister. No, forget the water. Go buy some salty porridge. I forced down the dizziness and nodded obediently. Okay, Mom, I'll go right away. I slowly got to my feet. As I passed by Lin Wan's bedside, I saw the look in her eyes as she stared at me, fear, deep fear. She finally realized that between her and me, a terrifying link had been established. As long as I courted death, she would die even faster. She grabbed my wrist, her nails digging into my flesh. Lin Mian, stop, please. Her voice was faint, choked with tears. I leaned close to her ear and whispered, stop, the game has just begun. I heard traditional Chinese medicine is great for regulating the body, so I specifically sought out an experienced practitioner and got a prescription, aconite, monkshood, nux vomica, all good stuff. I'm going to drink 10 bowls a day to nourish myself. Lin Wan's pupils dilated instantly. These medicinal herbs, if they aren't processed strictly and the dosage controlled, they're highly toxic. I have the pain-blocking function provided by the system, though I didn't enable it, but I have the resolve to take that gamble. I bet if I drink this, I'll just have an arrhythmia. But she would go straight into cardiac arrest. Lin Wan has gone mad. She frantically pressed the call button by the bed. Doctor, help, she's trying to kill me, she's trying to poison me. The doctor and nurses rushed in, thinking she was hallucinating. Miss Lin, calm down, that's your sister, how could she be trying to kill you? Looks like cerebral edema has affected her nervous system. Hurry, push hypertonic saline. Lin Wan was held down on the bed, staring at me in despair. I walked out of the ward and turned to go to the hospital's traditional Chinese medicine pharmacy. I really went to get the medicine, of course. I'm not foolish enough to drink poison directly. What I got was bitter and cold medicine, Coptis chinensis, Gentiana scabra, Sephora flavescens, extremely bitter, harmful to the stomach, harmful to the spleen. I am going to ruin my own stomach. I want to have diarrhea 10 times a day. Lin Wan, are you ready to experience double the stomach cramps and dehydration? Back in the hospital room, in front of everyone, I picked up that bowl of black, foul-smelling medicinal broth that gave off a nauseating bitter odor. Mom, seeing my younger sister so sick, I also want to take care of my body. I don't want to be a burden to the family. My mother waved her hand impatiently. Drink it. Drink it, don't stand there being an eyesore. I tipped my head back and gulped it down in one breath. Bitter, so bitter it felt like my soul had left my body. My stomach instantly churned violently. The next second, Lin Wan on the bed suddenly widened her eyes and clutched her stomach. Ugh, what she vomited out was not water, but bile. Her face instantly turned the color of pig liver, and her whole body curled up like a shrimp. It hurts, my stomach hurts so much, it feels like someone has torn my intestines apart. I put down the empty bowl and wiped the medication residue from the corners of my mouth, watching her look worse than death. This bowl of medicine was truly sweet. Lin Wan was tormented to the brink of death. The doctor gave her a full examination, and apart from an electrolyte imbalance and acute gastroenteritis, they couldn't find any organic lesions. In the end, it could only be attributed to her special constitution and excessive stress. To take care of her, her parents directly booked a luxury suite at the hospital. I also got to stay there thanks to her. After all, I'm an obedient older sister. If you drive me away at a time like this, it won't sound good if word gets out. Late at night, Lin Wan was hooked up to N4 and had finally managed to fall asleep. I sat on the sofa, took out my phone, and downloaded several of the most mentally draining horror games. I also ordered an extra strong Americano. I'm going to stay up all night. I'm going to cultivate immortality. I'm going to go 3 days and 3 nights without sleeping. I don't believe it. Double sleep deprivation. Can her nerves take it? The first night, I played games in high spirits. Lin Wan began to turn uneasily in her sleep, muttering nonsense. She seemed to have fallen into some kind of deep nightmare. Although the double dose of fatigue couldn't stop her from sleeping outright, it could drive the quality of her sleep below zero. Even when she was asleep, her brain remained in an extremely active, overloaded state. Early the next morning, with 2 huge dark circles under my eyes, I felt a little dazed. When Lin Wan woke up, it felt as if she had been beaten up. Sunken eye sockets, a vacant stare. Mom, I'm so tired. It feels like I've been running all night. My mom stroked her head with concern. How could that be? You slept for more than 10 hours. Is the bed uncomfortable? I'll have someone replace it with an imported mattress. I took a sip of iced Americano and said quietly from the side, little sister, you really don't know how lucky you are. I've been worried about your condition and couldn't sleep all night. Lin Wan suddenly turned to look at me. She saw the coffee in my hand and my bloodshot eyes. She understood. She was trembling. You're staying up all night? I smiled. Yeah, I'm praying for my younger sister. The next 2 days, I was practically risking my life. I don't sleep. I only drink coffee and Red Bull. My heart was pounding wildly. My temples throbbed with pain, and double images started to appear before my eyes, but I was thrilled, because Lin Wan was in a state 10 times worse than mine. She started having hallucinations. She pointed at the air and screamed, "There's a ghost is grabbing me." She lost control of her emotions and even grabbed a pillow and threw it at my mom. "Get away, you all want to hurt me." The doctor said this was delirium caused by severe neurasthenia, but I knew this was a double mental breakdown. On the third night, I felt like I was about to die suddenly. My heart felt as if it were about to leap out of my chest, but I glanced at the data on the monitor. Lin Wan's heart rate had already shot up to 160. She was convulsing on the bed, foam at the mouth. The system finally panicked. That cold mechanical voice rang out in my mind, carrying a faint crackle of static. "Host, please stop the self-harm behavior. Detected that the bound subject's vital signs are extremely unstable and is about to face a risk of death." I smiled. "So you can talk to me too," I replied coldly in my heart. "What? Can't handle it anymore? Weren't you pretty arrogant when you first bound to me? Please stop immediately, host, otherwise, the system will take compulsory measures, coercive measures. Go ahead and try. If you dare lay a hand on me, I'll dare slit my wrists right away. If I die, she dies twice over. Let's all go down together." The system fell silent. It was thrown off by my reckless, life-risking fighting style. It had probably never seen a host who would push itself to the brink of death just to kill its opponent. At that moment, the ward door was pushed open. A familiar figure walked in. "It's Gu Yen, my fiancé." "No, now he's Lin Wan's lapdog." He was holding a bouquet of flowers, originally here to see Lin Wan, but as soon as he entered the room, he saw Lin Wan tied to the bed, disheveled, with a twisted mouth and slanted eyes, looking like a madwoman, and me, though haggard, she sat quietly by the window, holding a book in her hands. There was a kind of broken beauty to her. Gu Yen froze. He looked at Lin Wan, a trace of disgust flashing in his eyes. Then, he turned his gaze to me. "Mian Mian, why are you here too?" I looked up, my eyes filled with sorrow. "Brother Gu Yen, you're here to see your sister, right? She's very sick. Don't look down on her." I shouldn't have said anything. As soon as I did, Lin Wan suddenly let out a strange cry and soiled herself. She lost control of her bladder and bowels, double the sphincter relaxation. The entire ward was instantly filled with a foul stench. Gu Yen covered his nose and retreated 3 steps in a row. At that moment, I saw the disgust in his eyes, something that couldn't be faked. Gu Yen fled in panic. Even the flowers were thrown beside the trash can. After Lin Wan regained consciousness and learned that she had lost control of her bladder in front of Gu Yen, she completely broke down. She cried her heart out, even wanting to bang her head against the wall. My parents finally managed to calm her down. My mother pulled me into the hallway and immediately started scolding me. "Lin Mian, are you a jinx reincarnated? Ever since you came back, this house has been in chaos. If your sister doesn't get better, you won't have it easy either." I lowered my head, appearing to accept it without resistance, but in my heart, I was already calculating a new plan. Besides Gu Yen, what Lin Wan cared about most was her face. She spends several hours on skincare every day, and even a small pimple can make her scream for half the day. In that case, I touched my somewhat rough cheek. "Lately, staying up late has really taken a toll on my skin. It's time to get some medical aesthetics done." I took advantage of my parents' absence and sneaked out of the hospital. I went to an unlicensed small beauty salon. "I want to get a chemical peel," I said to the beautician. "The concentration needs to be the highest." The beautician was startled. "Miss, the highest concentration can burn your skin, even disfigure you." I pulled a stack of cash from my bag and slapped it on the table. "I'm willing. If anything happens, you won't be held responsible, but I have one condition. After this, I want to do microneedling too, the thickest kind." The esthetician looked at me as if I were crazy, but for the money, she went ahead with it anyway. High-concentration glycolic acid was applied to my face, stinging. It felt like countless fire ants were gnawing at my skin, but I held back. I even asked the beautician to stay a few minutes longer. I imagined Lin Wan's face at that moment. Double chemical burns. Her face should be badly ruined by now. Right after the glycolic acid treatment, my face swelled up and turned red like a pig's head, even oozing blood. Then came the microneedling. The wheel rolls over the face, piercing the skin. I tremble all over in pain, tears streaming uncontrollably, but inside, I am laughing maniacally. "Lin Wan, your face must be a bloody mess by now, right?" I put on my mask and sunglasses and returned to the hospital. As soon as I reached the door of the ward, I heard screams coming from inside. it was even more agonizing than the sound of a pig being slaughtered. My face hurts so much, it's burning, help, a mirror, give me a mirror. I pushed open the door. Lin Wan was seen clutching her face and rolling on the bed. The doctor was trying to pull her hands away. The moment her hands were removed, the entire venue fell into dead silence. That could no longer be called a face, it was swollen, festering, with large patches of skin peeling off, revealing the bright red dermis. It looked as if sulfuric acid had been splashed on it. My mother was so frightened that she fainted on the spot. The water cup in my dad's hand fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. What's going on? The doctor also panicked. This is a severe chemical burn, or an extremely serious allergic reaction. Hurry, take him to the burn unit. I stood in the corner and took off my sunglasses, although my face was also red, swollen, and unsightly. It looked like a fairy next to Lin Wan's ruined face. It was simply heavenly. Lin Wan saw me through the gaps between her fingers. She saw the unnatural redness and swelling on my face. She understood. She let out a desperate roar, wanting to charge over and tear me apart. Lin Mian, you lunatic, you ruined my face. I'll kill you, I'll kill you. What a pity. As soon as she got out of bed, her legs gave way. The rhabdomyolysis hadn't fully healed yet, and she fell face first onto the floor. With a sharp smack, that ugly face made intimate contact with the ground. I heard the sound of flesh sticking to the floor. Tch, it sounded painful just hearing it. I walked over, pretending to help her up, say in a voice only the two of us can hear, little sister, and you can't take this already. I was even planning to get liposuction, the kind without anesthesia. Lin Wan's body froze. She lay on the ground, tears mingling with blood and pooling across the floor. Sis, I was wrong. I'll give Gu Yen back to you, give Mom and Dad back to you, please, let me go. I looked down at her from above, as if looking at a dead dog. Too late. What belongs to me, I will take back myself. As for you, go to hell and repent. Lin Wan was completely ruined. Her face was ruined, her body had collapsed, and her mind was on the verge of breakdown, but her damn system is still there. As long as I don't die, she still has a chance to turn things around. Moreover, the Lin family is wealthy. As long as there's money, she can get plastic surgery, a kidney transplant, and extend her life, to save this precious daughter he cherished above all else. My dad began pulling every string he had. He even started scheming around me. That day, my dad called me into the study. He looked at me, his expression complicated. There was no guilt, only calculation. Mian, you've seen it yourself. Wan Wan is in this state now. The doctor said her liver and kidney functions are failing, and she needs a transplant. You're her sister, so you're definitely the most suitable match. My heart turned ice cold, though I had anticipated it. Hearing it with my own ears still felt ironic. This is my biological father. In his eyes, I am nothing more than a backup organ bank. I pretended to be scared, trembling uncontrollably. Dad, are you asking me to donate a kidney to my sister? But I'm scared of the pain. My father's face darkened. What's there to be afraid of? Medical technology is so advanced these days. Losing a kidney won't kill you. Our Lin family has raised you for so long. Now it's time for you to repay us. As long as you agree, I'll give you 10 million and send you abroad to live a good life. 10 million, buy one of my kidneys, half of my liver. What a way to treat a beggar. I lowered my head to hide the madness in my eyes. Okay, I agree. My father was overjoyed. Really, good child. Dad knew you were the most sensible. I know how to send you to the afterlife. The surgery is scheduled for 3 days later. During these 3 days, I was well fed and taken care of. Lin Wan lay in the sterile ward, covered in tubes. She knew I was going to donate my liver and kidneys to her, and a hint of smugness flashed in her eyes. Even though she is now neither human nor ghost, she still feels she has won, because she believes that as long as she gets the organ transplant, she can survive, and I will become a cripple. Unfortunately, she forgot about that fatal bug. The night before the surgery, I signed that thick stack of consent forms. Then, I made a decision. I was going to play a big game on the operating table. The day of the surgery, I was wheeled into the operating room. The anesthesiologist was preparing to administer the anesthesia. Suddenly, I grabbed his hand. Doctor, I'm allergic to anesthetics. Can you give me a smaller dose? The doctor paused for a moment. Allergic? The previous checkup didn't mention that. I had it once when I was a child and almost died. I lied without blushing or my heart racing. Just a little sedative will do. I can endure it. Although the doctor felt it was inappropriate, he still reduced the dosage at my insistence. This means that during the surgery, I will feel pain, severe pain. The surgery began, the cold scalpel cut through my skin. In that instant, a wave of pain surged over me. I gritted my teeth, and cold sweat instantly soaked through my surgical gown, but I didn't cry out. I said to myself, Lin Wan, enjoy it while you can. The double agony of being gutted. The operating room next door. Lin Wan, who was undergoing recipient preparation, suddenly let out a shrill scream. Even under general anesthesia, her body also began to convulse violently. The monitoring equipment started blaring alarms frantically. Patient's blood pressure is dropping sharply. Arrhythmia. What's going on? Has the anesthesia worn off? The lead surgeon panicked. Quick, increase the anesthetic dose. But it was useless. This was a pain link from the deepest depths of the soul. The physical anesthesia simply couldn't hold it down. Just as the doctors were in a panic on my side, the doctor was preparing to remove part of my liver. I suddenly opened my eyes, ignoring the intense pain from the wound. I grabbed the hemostat beside me. I plunged it directly into my own wound, gave it a fierce twist. Blood gushed out. The doctors and nurses were all stunned. He's gone mad. The patient has gone mad. Stop the bleeding. Stop the bleeding quickly. The pain was so intense that my vision went dark, but I burst out laughing. Double the internal organ rupture, double the massive hemorrhage. Lin Wan, this time, let's see how you survive. A dull thud came from the operating room next door. It sounded like a watermelon bursting, followed by the doctor's desperate cry. The patient's liver has ruptured, massive bleeding. It won't stop. It just won't stop. The heart has stopped. Defibrillator. Now, before my consciousness faded, I heard the final wail from the system's mechanical voice. Host, you are a madman. And then, complete silence. I didn't die. The rescue was timely, and I hadn't injured a vital artery. I lay in the ICU for 3 days. When I woke up, only the caregiver was by my side. My parents weren't there. Gu Yen wasn't there either. They were all busy arranging Lin Wan's funeral. Yes, Lin Wan is dead. She died on the operating table. Double liver rupture. Double massive hemorrhage. Not even a god could save her. I heard that when she died, blood flowed from all 7 orifices, and her death was extremely gruesome. Even the mortician had to put in a great deal of effort to properly apply her makeup. I lay on the hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. My heart felt empty. There was no imagined ecstasy, only a weariness that came after a great vengeance had been fulfilled. But I knew it wasn't over yet. Lin Wan was dead, but the Lin family remained. Those biased parents would surely pin all the blame on me. Indeed, my first day after being transferred to the general ward, my mom rushed in. Her hair was disheveled, her eyes bloodshot, like a vengeful ghost. Lin Mian, give me back my daughter, you murderer, you killed Wan Wan. She lunged at me and tried to strangle me. I had just undergone surgery and was too weak to fight back at all. A suffocating sensation surged over me. I looked at her ferocious face, a tear sliding down from the corner of my eye. Mom, why? I am your daughter too. I almost lost my life trying to save my sister. Why are you treating me like this? At this moment, I employed advanced emotional manipulation. First, show weakness, then make accusations. The doorway was crowded with doctors, nurses, and patients watching the commotion. What everyone sees is a frail daughter who has just donated part of her liver and narrowly escaped death. She was being strangled by her own mother, who intended to kill her. Public opinion exploded instantly. Is this mother insane? Just saved the daughter, and now you want to strangle her? How cruel. Is this really her own mother? Several male doctors rushed in and forcibly pulled my mother away. My mother was still hysterical. Let go of me. She's a devil. She's using witchcraft. Wan Wan was cursed to death by her. No one believed her. Everyone thought she had gone mad from excessive shock. My father stood at the door, his face so dark it seemed as if water could drip from it. He looked at me, his eyes filled with scrutiny and suspicion. He is more rational than my mother, he sensed that something was wrong. Why is it that every time I get hurt, Lin Wan gets hurt twice as much? But he had no evidence, and besides, public opinion is now very unfavorable to him. If he makes another move against me, the stock price of the Lin Group will hit the limit down. So, he walked in and slapped my mom hard across the face. Enough, stop embarrassing yourself here. Wan Wan is already gone. Do you want to drive your only daughter to death too? My mom was stunned by the slap. She covered her face, looking at my dad in disbelief. You hit me, you actually hit me for this jinx. My father ignored her and turned to look at me. He put on a kind fatherly expression, but that smile was uglier than crying. Mian Mian, your mother is just overwhelmed with grief. Don't blame her, focus on recovering well. Dad will make it up to you. I stared at his hypocritical face, a cold laugh echoed in my heart. Compensation. The compensation I want is the entire Lin family. After Lin Wan's death, I became the sole heir of the Lin family. How ironic, the fake daughter they once discarded like worthless trash has now become their only hope. My father started taking me to the company to teach me how to do business. He tried to mold me into the next Lin Wan. I behaved obediently and learned quickly, but secretly, I was gathering evidence of tax evasion, bribery, and corruption within the Lin group. I will make this filthy family completely perish. Gu Yan has also come knocking at my door. He knelt before me, weeping bitterly. Mian Mian, I was wrong. The one I've truly loved has always been you. I was just bewitched by that enchantress Lin Wan. Now that she's dead, can we start over? Looking at this scumbag who caused my death in my past life, I smiled and helped him up. Brother Gu Yan, I don't blame you. As long as you help me with one thing, I'll forgive you. Gu Yan was overjoyed. What is it? Just tell me. I'd go through fire and water for you. I leaned close to his ear and whispered, I want you to report the Lin group. Gu Yan froze. This is your own family's company, and once you report it, the Lin family will be finished, and you won't get anything either. I touched his face. Fool, the Lin family is finished, we can transfer the money away. As long as you help me, I'll take all the money and run away with you. Gu Yan was moved. Greed overcame fear. He thought I was a love-struck fool who would betray my family for the sake of romance. Little did they know, I intended to drag him and the Lin family down to hell with me. 1 month later, Gu Yan filed a real name report against the Lin group. The evidence is conclusive. The Tax Bureau and the Public Security Bureau conducted a joint enforcement operation, sealing off the Lin group's building. My father was taken away for investigation. My mother couldn't bear the blow and truly went insane, ending up in a mental hospital. As for Gu Yan, because he was involved in money laundering, with the evidence I fabricated, he was also arrested. He saw me standing by the roadside from the police car, holding a glass of champagne in my hand, smiling like a flower. He finally understood. He had been fooled. Lin Mian, you poisonous woman, you'll die a horrible death. He roared through the car window. I raised my glass and toasted him from afar. Take care, I won't see you out. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. In her previous life, when Tang Wan died, Song Jichuan was still accompanying Luo Susu on an expedition in Antarctica. News of a high-ranking political official bowing for love and remaining devoted to protecting a beautiful scientist for decades spread like wildfire across the internet. Netizens eagerly discussed, saying that after seeing everything Secretary Song had done for Professor Luo, they believed in love again. However, they didn't know that the love-bowing Secretary Song also had a neglected wife. When Tang Wan saw the news and went to confront Song Jichuan, she received only one sentence: don't make a scene. In the final moments of her fading life, Tang Wan felt that there had never been a moment so light and free. She was finally going to break free from all of this. If there was a next life, she would never fall in love with Song Jichuan again. Xiao Tang, wake up. Did you hear what I just said? Tang Wan's attention was suddenly pulled back, looking at Sister Lin in military uniform in front of her. She didn't react for a moment. When did Sister Lin become so young? Sister Lin at the marriage registration office sighed as she looked at Tang Wan, who was still standing there in a daze, and repeated what she had just said to Tang Wan. Xiao Tang, marriage is a matter for two people. Although Captain Song has already signed, the marriage certificate requires both parties to come and handle it. Do you think you should go back and discuss it with Captain Song, and find a time to come together? Captain Song, didn't Song Jichuan retire from the military and enter politics long ago? How could he still be a captain? Tang Wan's consciousness was finally pulled back. She looked up and caught a glimpse of her reflection in the office window. Wasn't that her younger self? Had she been reborn? The concept of rebirth, which was beyond Tang Wan's understanding, left her no time to say much more to Sister Lin. She immediately took back the marriage application she had brought today, tossed out a quick, I'll go back and ask, and hurriedly left. Tang Wan remembered, this was from her previous life, when she had come alone to submit the marriage application. In that life, Sister Lin had also advised her to discuss things properly with Song Jichuan, but she hadn't listened. Instead, she had insisted that Sister Lin accept the application, and in the end, the matter had escalated to Song Jichuan's superiors before their marriage was officially recognized. In this lifetime, I absolutely must not have any further connection with Song Jichuan. Realizing she had been reborn, Tang Wan quickly withdrew her marriage application and returned to Song Jichuan's residence. The house assigned to Song Jichuan was already filled with bright red wedding quilts and festive window decorations. Anyone who entered this home would know it was the residence of a newlywed couple about to start their life together, besides Song Jichuan. Now Tang Wan herself thought so too. When Tang Wan arrived home, Song Jichuan hadn't returned yet, but she wasn't in a hurry. In another half hour, Song Jichuan would bring back his junior, the genius scientist Luo Susu, and begin a three-person cohabitation. Since she had made up her mind to draw a clear line with Song Jichuan in this lifetime, Tang Wan immediately packed all her belongings into the storage room as soon as she got home. She then carefully tucked away her identification documents and the only 60 yuan she had left on her person, as this would be the foundation for her independent life in the future. After finishing these tasks, Tang Wan took out the marriage application form bearing her and Song Jichuan's names from the document folder. She walked to the kitchen, turned on the gas stove, and watched as the flames slowly consumed the paper. "What are you doing?" Song Jichuan didn't find Tang Wan in the living room, where she usually stayed, after returning home. When he walked into the kitchen and saw Tang Wan staring blankly at the gas stove, a strange feeling flickered in his heart, but it was quickly ignored. Seeing that Song Jichuan had returned, Tang Wan used her body to block his line of sight. She turned off the gas stove, swept the ashes on the stove into the trash can with a cloth, and then turned to look at Song Jichuan. "Nothing, just thinking about what to do tonight." "All right, then come out for a moment, I want to introduce you to someone." Tang Wan followed Song Jichuan into the living room and saw Luo Susu, dressed in Western-style clothing, fiddling with the unfinished paper-cut character 4, Double Happiness, in the living room. Seeing them come out, she took the initiative to speak. "Senior, this must be my sister-in-law. I was just looking at this half-finished paper-cut character 4, Double Happiness. Sister-in-law, your hands are so skillful." Before Song Jichuan could introduce Tang Wan, Luo Susu stepped forward and grabbed Tang Wan's hand. "Sister-in-law, Brother Jichuan said he wasn't comfortable with me staying at the military guest house and mentioned there's an extra room at home I could borrow. Do you mind, sister-in-law?" With the same innocent and naive tone, Luo Susu asked the same question as in her previous life. How had she answered back then? She couldn't remember, but it must have been a hysterical refusal. "Sure, I don't mind, you can stay as long as you like." Tang Wan withdrew her hand from Luo Susu's grasp and replied calmly. Song Jichuan had originally thought Tang Wan would refuse, seeing her poor complexion, and was just about to tell her to be more sensible when, to his surprise, she agreed, and her reaction was so indifferent. "Then it's settled, Susu will stay in the secondary bedroom, you move to the master bedroom to sleep, and I'll sleep on the floor." Song Jichuan believed that since he and Tang Wan were about to get married, moving in together early wasn't a problem, so he directly decided to have Tang Wan give up her bedroom. Tang Wan had been planning to move out anyway, and now she had an extra reason to start packing early, which suited her just fine. She quickly packed up the items from the secondary bedroom, intending to store them all in the storage room. Just as she was about to toss the wedding quilt from her own room into the storage room as well, Song Jichuan stopped her. "Put the wedding quilt in the master bedroom. There's still space in the closet in my room. The storage room is dusty, and it wouldn't be good to get the wedding quilt dirty." Song Jichuan's words left both women in the room momentarily stunned. Luo Susu was unwilling. She had liked Song Jichuan for so long, yet he had ended up marrying a girl from the countryside. Tang Wan, on the other hand, didn't care in the slightest. It didn't matter to her where the wedding quilt was placed, as she wouldn't be using it anyway. Song Jichuan took the initiative to carry the wedding quilt into his own room, placing it in the cabinet beneath the wardrobe. He then cleared out half of the space in the upper cabinet and said to Tang Wan, "You can put your clothes here." In his memory, Tang Wan's smile did not appear. Instead, she nodded coldly and said there was no rush. Song Jichuan didn't know why Tang Wan was different today and thought she was unhappy about him bringing Luo Susu back. While Luo Susu was tidying up the guest room, he prepared to talk to Tang Wan again. "Susu won't be staying long. She's an expert specially invited by the military, and they'll assign her a house soon. Please don't make a fuss during this time." Tang Wan listened to Song Jichuan's same old lecture and suddenly felt a strong urge to laugh. What on earth had gone wrong with her in her past life that she had actually fallen for someone like Song Jichuan? Tang Wan ignored Song Jichuan's lecture, walked straight out of the room, and began preparing dinner. A person is made of iron, and food is the steel. Although a scumbag is infuriating, one shouldn't starve themselves. The three of them finished dinner in silence. Washed up, and each returned to their rooms to rest. Song Jichuan looked at Tang Wan sleeping in his bed, feeling a secret sense of satisfaction, thinking that Tang Wan hadn't smiled at him all day. He wanted to say something, but before he could even start, Tang Wan cut him off. Go to sleep early. I plan to go home tomorrow and have a long journey ahead. Well, when you go back tomorrow, have Grandpa pick an auspicious date, and we'll go get our marriage certificate. Tang Wan didn't respond, and Song Jichuan assumed she was tired and had already fallen asleep. The next day, Tang Wan deliberately got up very late to avoid Song Jichuan and the others. After they had left, she got up, packed all her belongings into a suitcase, and prepared to take them back to the village. As she was leaving, she ran into a neighbor's sister-in-law who jokingly asked when Tang Wan was getting married. Tang Wan brushed it off and headed straight for the bus station, an hour and a half by bus, followed by an hour of walking, and Tang Wan finally arrived back at her home. As she passed the village entrance, a few elderly villagers asked why she was carrying a suitcase. Tang Wan simply replied that it was something she no longer needed. Tang Wan had returned to the village mainly to take care of two matters: first, to break off her engagement with the Song family, and second, to obtain a certificate from the village committee so she could participate in the upcoming college entrance examination. Tang Wan was originally the most promising candidate in the village to attend university. However, ever since she met Song Jichuan, she had become infatuated, throwing even the village secretary's advice to the wind. She had been eagerly looking forward to marrying Song Jichuan and didn't want to be separated from him by going away for university. Tang Wan found the jade pendant exchanged during their engagement at home, tucked it into her pocket, and headed to the Song family's house. This marriage was bought with Tang Wan's father's life. When he was young, her father saved the life of Old Master Song. After Old Master Song retired and returned to Tang family village to live out his old age, he learned that Tang Wan's father had already passed away, leaving Tang Wan as the only one left in the family. Thus, he forcefully arranged the marriage with Song Jichuan. Old Master Song sent her to Song Jichuan's side in the name of a life-saving benefactor, saying that the two of them should cultivate their feelings well, and once they had developed enough, they could get married. Tang Wan stayed by Song Jichuan's side for 2 years, but he always remained indifferent toward her, never showing the slightest hint of affection. Just when Tang Wan thought it was impossible for her and Song Jichuan to have a future, at this year's New Year's reunion banquet, he unexpectedly took the initiative to agree to become engaged to Tang Wan first. Tang Wan was overwhelmed by the immense surprise and failed to notice the deeper meaning in Song Jichuan's eyes at that moment. The Song family lived not far from her own home, so Tang Wan arrived at the Song residence in no time. She knocked on the door, and the nanny who was taking care of Old Master Song opened it. Recognizing Tang Wan, she immediately welcomed her inside. "Wan Wan, come here." Old Master Song, seeing that it was Tang Wan, called her by her childhood nickname and beckoned her to his side. "Grandpa." Tang Wan's eyes welled up with tears, including her past life. It had been decades since she last saw Grandpa Song, the person who had been the kindest to her after her own father passed away. Hearing the choked tone in Tang Wan's voice, Old Master Song quickly took her hand and guided her to sit down. "Wan Wan, what's wrong? Did Jichuan bully you? Tell Grandpa, and Grandpa will definitely stand up for you." Tang Wan also realized her tone was off and quickly adjusted her mood. "No, Grandpa, Song Jichuan didn't bully me." However, when Old Master Song heard Tang Wan directly call Song Jichuan by his full name, he was taken aback. He was a shrewd man and knew that the change in how Tang Wan addressed his grandson meant she must have something important to discuss with him today. "Wan Wan, Jichuan hasn't bullied you. Why did you suddenly come back today? Weren't you preparing for your wedding? Have you bought everything?" Upon hearing Grandpa Song bring up her marriage to Song Jichuan, Tang Wan, who was holding the jade pendant, tightened her grip in her pocket. Instead of immediately responding to Grandpa Song, she took out the engagement jade pendant. "Grandpa, I want to break off the engagement with Song Jichuan. I don't want to marry him anymore." Grandpa Song was greatly shocked. Although Tang Wan appeared gentle in temperament, she was as stubborn as her father. Once she made a decision, she would never go back on it. Grandpa Song did not take Tang Wan's jade pendant. Instead, he reached out and gently patted her head, speaking softly. "Our Wan Wan has been wronged. If you truly wish to break off the engagement with Jichuan, Grandpa supports your decision. But Wan Wan, Grandpa, how did Jichuan bully you? Grandpa will teach him a lesson first, and then you can break off the engagement." Hearing that Grandpa Song not only did not blame her but also supported her decision to break off the engagement, Tang Wan could no longer hold back the grievances from both her past and present lives. Tears streamed from her eyes, releasing all her pent-up emotions. Tang Wan threw herself into Grandpa Song's arms, as if crying out all the sorrows from her past life. In Grandpa Song's embrace, she wept until her whole body trembled, nearly convulsing. The immense grief left old Master Song utterly shocked. Back when Tang Wan's father passed away, she had nearly cried herself into a faint. What on earth had Song Jichuan done to make Tang Wan so heartbroken? Old Master Song dared not entertain any further thoughts of persuading Tang Wan. It was clear that the child had truly given up on Jichuan. Forcing them together now would only create a resentful couple. After a long bout of crying, Song Zhu gradually calmed down. When she lifted her head again, her eyes were red and swollen. Old Master Song quickly asked Aunt Shui to boil 2 eggs to help reduce Tang Wan's swelling. Now that Tang Wan had settled down, Old Master Song finally spoke up. Wan, don't worry, I'll have Aunt Shui call Secretary Tang over in a moment and ask him to bring the marriage certificate so we can help you cancel this engagement. Seeing that Grandpa Song agreed to her request to break off the engagement without asking any questions, Tang Wan felt another wave of bitterness in her heart. Grandpa, I'm sorry, it's all because I'm too willful, but I really don't like Song Jichuan anymore, and I don't know how to like him again. I'm so tired, Grandpa. Tang Wan repeated her apologies incoherently to Grandpa Song, not saying a single bad word about Song Jichuan, only stating that she no longer liked him. Wan, there's no need to apologize. I've said before that if Wan can't become my granddaughter-in-law, she can be my granddaughter. Since you're my granddaughter, Grandpa will support all your decisions. Grandpa Song patted Tang Wan's back, comforting her not to feel too guilty, and then continued to ask, Wan, what do you plan to do after breaking off the engagement? Grandpa, I want to take the college entrance exam and see the world outside. Tang Wan shared her plans, hoping to hear Grandpa Song's advice. Unexpectedly, as soon as Grandpa Song heard that Tang Wan wanted to take the college entrance exam, he immediately expressed his approval. Taking the college entrance exam is a great idea. If you get into university, Wan, you can have your own life, and I can rest assured about your future. However, you haven't studied for 2 years. Do you still remember the courses you left behind? I have a good friend whose son is a teacher at County No. 1 High School. When you go back this time, go to him for tutoring. Wan is so smart, I'm sure you'll be able to pick up the textbooks again. Seeing how supportive Grandpa Song was and that he even thought of finding a teacher for her, Tang Wan felt deeply moved. She continued to share her future plans with Grandpa Song, wanting him to know that her decision to break off the engagement and pursue university wasn't made on a whim. She had a well-thought-out plan for her future. Following Grandpa Song's earlier instructions, Aunt Shui had invited the village party Secretary Tang. As soon as Secretary Tang arrived, he noticed Tang Wan's swollen eyes from crying. Upon hearing from Grandpa Song that the marriage arrangement between their families and Tang Wan's was being called off, he immediately returned to the village office and brought back the marriage contract that both parties had signed. Grandpa Song destroyed the marriage contract in front of both of them and took back the jade pendant from Tang Wan. From that moment on, Tang Wan was finally free from any ties to Song Jichuan in this lifetime. When Secretary Tang learned that Tang Wan intended to retake the university entrance exam, he was also very supportive. Without hesitation, he issued her a school enrollment certificate, allowing her to participate in this year's college entrance examination. Both matters were resolved smoothly, and Tang Wan felt much more relaxed. She decided to stay in the village for a few days before returning to the county town to rent a place and prepare for the college entrance exam. 3 days later, Tang Wan followed Grandpa Song's advice and returned to Song Jichuan's residence. On one hand, the area was a military family compound, making it safer to live there. On the other hand, it was close to the high school teacher's home recommended by Grandpa Song, making it convenient for Tang Wan to attend tutoring sessions. Grandpa Song promised Tang Wan that he would keep their engagement annulment a secret for her and would not let Song Jichuan know for the time being. Everything would be discussed after Tang Wan finished her college entrance exam. When Tang Wan returned to Song Jichuan's residence, Luo Susu had already moved out. It was said that Song Jichuan had taken the initiative to help Luo Susu secure a house through connections, and it was approved ahead of schedule. Located in the building next to theirs, Tang Wan saw that Luo Susu had already moved out, so she moved back into the secondary bedroom. Then, using the money she had on hand, She bought all the textbooks needed for the college entrance exam and focused her attention on exam preparation. Song Jichuan also noticed that since Tang Wan returned from the village, she had become increasingly distant toward him. He wondered if it was because the wedding date his grandfather had calculated was a bit late, which might have upset her. During this period, Song Jichuan would bring Tang Wan different snacks and small pieces of jewelry every time he came back, trying to cheer her up. However, Tang Wan never seemed particularly interested. Over time, Song Jichuan grew accustomed to her cold demeanor. He also consulted with some married people in the military, who said it was pre-wedding jitters and that things would get better after the wedding. Time flew by swiftly. Tang Wan buried herself in the ocean of knowledge. With no mind to care about other matters, she didn't even listen. When her neighbor's sister-in-law reminded her to keep an eye on Song Jichuan, what a joke. Song Jichuan was nothing to Tang Wan now. Luo Susu kept finding various excuses to secure alone time with Song Jichuan, even growing bolder in provoking Tang Wan, but Tang Wan ignored it all. The three of them, in this strange balance, welcomed Tang Wan's college entrance examination. To ensure her college entrance exam went smoothly, Tang Wan specifically told Song Jichuan that she had matters to attend to back in the village and would also visit Grandpa Song. In reality, she had booked a hotel room for a few days, planning to stay there during the exam period. Song Jichuan didn't think much of it. Tang Wan smoothly completed her college entrance exam, and now all that was left was to wait for the results. On the day the college entrance exam ended, Tang Wan checked out of the hotel. She couldn't afford to waste money on a hotel now, so she packed her things and returned to Song Jichuan's home. Unexpectedly, she happened to run into Song Jichuan and his comrades having a gathering. When Tang Wan arrived, Song Jichuan's comrades were lamenting how he was trapped by a debt of gratitude for saving his life, unable to shake off a woman who was completely mismatched for him. If it were before, Tang Wan would have chosen to leave quietly, tactfully not disturbing them, but the Tang Wan of now would never compromise or endure humiliation. She directly pulled the door open and walked in. The group was stunned by Tang Wan's sudden intrusion. The person who had said Tang Wan and Song Jichuan were mismatched flushed red with embarrassment. It was the first time he had spoken ill of someone and been overheard by the person in question. Song Jichuan had the strongest reaction. Seeing Tang Wan pull open the door and walk straight in, he suddenly stood up and strode over to her side, not even bothering to right the chair he had knocked over. Jiangzi spoke out of turn, "Don't take it to heart." The first thing Song Jichuan said after grabbing Tang Wan's wrist was to apologize on behalf of his comrade. "And what if I do take it to heart?" Tang Wan looked coldly at Song Jichuan. "Tang Wan, be good. Jiangzi has had too much to drink, he doesn't know any better. But don't you?" Tang Wan, exhausted from 2 days of college entrance exams, looked up and met the man's gaze. Suddenly, she felt utterly drained. She pulled her wrist free from his grasp and rubbed it gently. "All right, I'll be sensible, then," ignoring everyone in the living room. She headed straight for the secondary bedroom. Song Jichuan hadn't expected Tang Wan to make a big fuss only to let it go so easily. For a moment, he stood there in stunned silence. It was Luo Susu, who had remained quiet the whole time, who finally spoke up. "Brother Jichuan, your wife looks quite tired, so we won't disturb you any longer." Jiangzi spoke out of turn after drinking, but as they say, in wine there is truth. "Please advise your wife not to be angry." After that, Luo Susu, acting like the lady of the house, called out to Song Jichuan's comrades in arms, suggesting they all leave together. Everyone else left, but Luo Susu remained in the living room. From the moment Tang Wan left, Song Jichuan had been frozen in one position, staring intently at the door to the secondary bedroom, not uttering a word for a long time. Seeing that Tang Wan now had such a significant impact on Song Jichuan, Luo Susu bit her lip and tried to persuade him a few times. Not only did Song Jichuan not listen, but he also asked her to leave first. Luo Susu left unwillingly, but the jealousy in her eyes clouded her judgment. She couldn't wait any longer. It was clear that Jichuan's heart had already leaned toward Tang Wan. If she didn't do something now, there would truly be no chance left for her and Jichuan. After everyone had left, Song Jichuan sat on the sofa facing the door of the second bedroom, lit a cigarette, and remained motionless for a long time. The way Tang Wan had looked at him today made his heart race. It was as if she were looking at a stranger, with not a trace of affection for him in her eyes. This was beyond Song Jichuan's control. The Tang Wan who had gazed at him with love on their engagement day was gone. When had she disappeared? He had no idea. Song Jichuan sat in the living room all night, pondering the origin of Tang Wan's change, but he found no answers. It wasn't until the next morning, when Tang Wan, well rested and refreshed, emerged from the second bedroom, that she saw the living room littered with cigarette butts and Song Jichuan with bloodshot eyes. Wan, about what happened yesterday, I was wrong, those things they said were not what I meant. Seeing Tang Wan come out of the bedroom immediately, Song Jichuan hurried forward to explain again. Tang Wan took a step back, repelled by the smell of smoke on Song Jichuan. Yesterday I already said, I'm sensible, so I won't take it to heart. You don't need to be like this. Song Jichuan also knew he reeked of smoke, and since Tang Wan didn't like it, he didn't step forward again. Instead, he said to Tang Wan, Wan, today I went to the team to ask for leave. Tomorrow, we'll go together to submit our marriage application. The date Grandpa picked is too far away. I want to marry you sooner. Song Jichuan always felt as if he was about to lose Tang Wan, so he brought up marriage. He thought that by expressing his desire to marry Tang Wan sooner, she would immediately agree and flutter around him like a happy little magpie, but the expected scenario didn't happen. Tang Wan remained standing coldly to the side. This marriage, I'm afraid we can't go through with it. Before Tang Wan could continue, Song Jichuan interrupted her. Wan, don't worry, I'll talk to Grandpa. This is the new China now, and we don't need to follow the old ways of picking dates anymore. If you're afraid Grandpa will blame us, I'll take you back to apologize to him in person after we get our marriage certificate. Without waiting for Tang Wan to say another word, Song Jichuan excused himself, saying he was running out of time, and left. Tang Wan clicked her tongue in annoyance. Was this the situation now? She had managed to extricate herself, but Song Jichuan had gotten himself entangled. It really proved a saying from netizens decades later, men are just shameless. Tang Wan thought for a moment. She was fairly confident about her college entrance exam results and was certain she would get into university, but she absolutely could not have any further connection with Song Jichuan. After pondering for a while, she turned and walked out the door. At the entrance of the family compound, Tang Wan chatted with a few military wives, shyly mentioning that Song Jichuan was eager to marry her and asking what documents they needed to bring when getting married. Their conversation was overheard by Luo Susu, who was not far away. Upon hearing that Song Jichuan had taken the initiative to marry Tang Wan, Luo Susu's heart twisted even more, and she ignored the glance Tang Wan cast in her direction. After passing the message to Luo Susu, Tang Wan waited for her to make a move, hoping that Luo Susu would not disappoint her. Although this lifetime Song Jichuan is different from the previous one, Tang Wan is unwilling to tie her hard-won new life to Song Jichuan again. Now, she can only hope that Luo Susu can stir up some trouble and make Song Jichuan give up the idea of marrying her. Luo Susu truly lived up to Tang Wan's expectations. Within a few days, she made Song Jichuan abandon the idea of marrying her. Although the marriage was called off, Song Jichuan became increasingly attentive to Tang Wan. He followed her every word, and his reputation as a loving husband quickly spread throughout the residential compound. Soon, the day for the college entrance exam results to be released arrived. Tang Wan used the same old trick, making an excuse to return to the village and going to the announcement location a day early to wait for the news. The next day, after getting her exam results and confirming that she was certain to get into the school she wanted, she prepared to go back and confront Song Jichuan directly. Unexpectedly, after returning, Luo Susu gave her such a huge surprise. She had actually managed to get Song Jichuan into bed. After checking her results early in the morning, Tang Wan returned to the family compound. As soon as she opened the door, she noticed an unusual smell in the room. She was no longer an innocent young girl and knew exactly what that smell meant. Without hesitation, she pushed open the door to the master bedroom, where two people lay naked in each other's arms, covered by the wedding quilt she had made herself. The sound of the door opening startled Song Jichuan. He saw Tang Wan standing expressionlessly at the doorway, watching him and Luo Susu lying in what was supposed to be their wedding quilt. His face instantly turned pale. Tang Wan glanced at them, then turned and walked out of the master bedroom. Song Jichuan got up to chase after her, but before he could, he heard Tang Wan say coldly, I'm not leaving, get dressed and come to the living room. Song Jichuan moved quickly. As soon as Tang Wan sat down on the living room sofa, he hastily threw on a piece of clothing and rushed into the living room. Wan, I can explain. Yesterday we drank too much. That's why we did that. Song Jichuan frantically tried to explain to Tang Wan, hoping to gain her forgiveness, but after he finished speaking, Tang Wan's face showed no expression at all, no sadness, no pain, no resentment, and none of the love he had hoped for. Tang Wan looked at him as if he were a stranger, her tone as casual as if she were discussing the nice weather today, and said, "Isn't this the first time, is it? Let me guess, when did you two get together? Was it after you last mentioned getting married?" Tang Wan asked one question after another, not expecting any answers. After finishing, she just quietly looked at Song Jichuan, looking at this man who caused her a lifetime of pain in her previous life and nearly made her waver in this one. She thought, thank goodness, it's fortunate. Under Tang Wan's questioning, Song Jichuan hung his head in shame, then, as if mustering his courage, knelt down before her. Wan, I was wrong, I'm sorry, I will definitely draw a clear line with her. Can you forgive me this time? Luo Susu, who had just finished getting ready in the bedroom, came out and saw Song Jichuan kneeling before Tang Wan. While Tang Wan sat calmly and loftily on the sofa, she immediately rushed to Song Jichuan's side. Brother Jichuan, get up, we are in love, and you two aren't even married, we haven't done anything wrong, she's just using Grandpa Song's influence to pressure you, you don't need to apologize. Luo Susu tugged at Song Jichuan, trying to get him to stand up. However, when Song Jichuan heard Luo Susu declare in front of Tang Wan that he and she were true lovers, he could no longer contain his regret. He pushed Luo Susu aside and warned her that he had never loved her. Tang Wan watched Song Jichuan and Luo Susu. In the future, these two were destined to be the pride of heaven, a match made in heaven, but now they had ended up like this. Truly, fortunes change like the turning of a wheel. You two, could you please quiet down and listen to me first? When Song Jichuan heard that Tang Wan was finally willing to speak to him again, he was about to beg for her forgiveness, but he never expected Tang Wan to directly sentence him to death. Song Jichuan, you're tainted, and I don't want anything tainted. Besides, I've been meaning to tell you for a long time, our engagement was called off half a year ago. Staying with you these past few months can be considered as repayment for the 2 years I spent taking care of you. Today, I came back to tell you that I plan to move out, but I happened to run into you both. Don't think too much of it. After speaking to Song Jichuan, Tang Wan turned to look at Luo Susu. Teacher Luo, you're absolutely right. Nowadays, marriage is a matter of personal freedom, but one must still be mindful of propriety. After all, in the eyes of others, Song Jichuan is still my fiancé. When you go out later, make sure your clothes are properly covered, don't ruin your own future. After saying this, Tang Wan stood up and prepared to leave. Just as she reached the door, Song Jichuan, who had finally processed her words, grabbed her arm. Explain yourself clearly. What do you mean by calling off the engagement? When did this happen? Why wasn't I informed? Tang Wan struggled hard but couldn't break free. Deciding to get it all out at once, she said, Song Jichuan, you were the one who proposed marriage without telling me beforehand, so I don't need to inform you about calling off the engagement either. If you still don't understand, let me make it clearer. I don't love you anymore, I don't want to live with you, I don't want to see you, and I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. Tang Wan's anger flared up, and her voice unconsciously rose. Weren't you also unwilling to marry me? Otherwise, how could that woman have had a chance? How did it feel sleeping under the wedding quilt I embroidered? I can explain everything. Calling off the engagement is no small matter. Wan, don't make a rash decision you'll regret. Tang Wan saw that Song Jichuan still refused to believe that she had truly broken off the engagement with him, and sneered coldly. Explanation, regret. Explain that the two of you couldn't bear the loneliness and ended up together, or explain that you actually enjoyed the infatuation of a genius scientist for yourself. Song Jichuan, you're 28 this year, not 8. You can understand the deep meaning in a woman's eyes. You can understand Luo Susu's affection for you, you can understand my love for you, and you can also understand the pain of my insecurity. Are you really happy? 2 women fighting over you, and I didn't make a move today. Are you a bit disappointed? If you really want to see me fight for you, that's not impossible. After saying this, Tang Wan took advantage of Song Jichuan's momentary distraction, broke free from his control, and rushed back into the room. She then slapped Luo Susu 3 times in quick succession, hitting her hard on both sides. The 3 slaps left Luo Susu stunned. She couldn't believe that Tang Wan had dared to lay a hand on her. She had never been treated like this before. These 3 slaps really satisfied Tang Wan. So this is what netizens mean by tearing apart a mistress. It feels so good. I should have done this earlier. Luo Susu snapped back to reality and suddenly let out a loud scream. While screaming, she rushed toward Tang Wan, wanting to fight back. Song Jichuan, who was standing nearby, was stunned for a moment when he saw Tang Wan actually take action. Then, noticing Luo Susu trying to harm Tang Wan, he immediately stepped forward to stop her. "Teacher Luo, keep your voice down. If you keep acting crazy, the two of you won't be able to hide this mess anymore." Actually, it was impossible to keep it hidden anyway. Song Jichuan and Tang Wan's voices at the door were so loud that they had already carried outside. The soundproofing in the residential compound was never great to begin with, and with Luo Susu's screams on top of that, everyone outside probably already knew what was going on. While Song Jichuan was holding back the frantic Luo Susu, Tang Wan seized the opportunity to leave. "Song Jichuan, may you have a happy union for 100 years. After saying that, Tang Wan pulled open the door and walked straight out. The neighbors in the hallway saw her come out, but none dared to approach and speak to her. They just watched her with various looks in their eyes, some filled with pity, some with schadenfreude, and others with different emotions. Tang Wan didn't even have time to care anymore. Stepping out of the family compound, the midsummer sunlight spread over her body, and a bright future lay ahead, waiting for her. Song Jichuan ultimately failed to stop Tang Wan. After leaving Song Jichuan's place, Tang Wan planned to return to the village and stay for a while. On one hand, she wanted to wait for the admission notice to arrive in the village, and on the other hand, she wanted to spend more time with Grandpa Song. She had chosen a university in Shanghai to study architecture. Shanghai was thousands of miles away from home, and she estimated she wouldn't return for the 4 years of university, so she wanted to make the most of this time to fulfill her filial duties. Grandpa Song didn't say much when he learned that Tang Wan had chosen a university in the south. He simply told her to take good care of herself once she left. During this time, Song Jichuan kept returning to the village to find Tang Wan, hoping to win her back. However, every time he came, he was either driven away by Grandpa Song or scolded away by Secretary Tang. When Song Jichuan came again, he happened to run into Secretary Tang delivering Tang Wan's university admission letter. Seeing Tang Wan holding the bright red admission notice with a smile on her face, a smile he hadn't seen in a long time, Song Jichuan finally realized that Tang Wan no longer wanted him, and that she had made this decision long ago. The news that Tang Wan had been admitted to the best university in Shanghai spread throughout the county. This was a university student, and not just any university, it was one in Shanghai. Their county hadn't produced a university student in years. To commend Tang Wan, the county leader specially invited her to give a lecture to the students at County No. 1 Middle School. They hoped to inspire the students and also have her share her learning experience. The county funded Tang Wan's living expenses and travel costs for her subsequent university studies, and she couldn't easily refuse the task of giving a speech at County No. 1 High School. Since learning that Tang Wan was going to university, Song Jichuan had not come to see her again, and Tang Wan thought he had finally given up. However, just as she thought Song Jichuan had quieted down, Luo Susu started causing trouble. On the day of the speech, when Tang Wan arrived, she discovered that not only was she giving a speech, but Luo Susu was also there. County No. 1 High School had actually invited Luo Susu as well. Luo Susu, dressed in a stylish little dress, took the stage to share with the students of County No. 1 High School how she became a scientist and the experiences she had while being sent abroad. Putting everything else aside, Luo Susu's speech today was successful and appropriate. She brought a different world to the students of County No. 1 High School, introducing them to diverse perspectives. When it was Tang Wan's turn, she only focused on the key points of studying: how to review efficiently, how to guess the examiner's intentions, how to predict exam questions, and how to get through low points. With Luo Susu's shining example preceding her, Tang Wan's study-focused speech seemed to fail to capture the students' interest. Just as she was about to put down the microphone and step off the stage, Luo Susu raised her hand. No one knew why Luo Susu suddenly raised her hand to ask a question, but it was not appropriate to interrupt these lectures. They just listened as Luo Susu, with a smile in her eyes, asked Tang Wan, "Classmate Tang Wan, I heard that you took a 2-year leave of absence and were about to get married. Why did you suddenly decide to come back to take the college entrance exam? Is it to catch up with your partner?" Tang Wan's decision to take a leave of absence from school to prepare for marriage was no secret in the county town, but no one would spoil her happy day for anyone else, except for Luo Susu. Ever since Tang Wan left that day, Song Jichuan had completely ignored her. Later, when she heard that Tang Wan had been admitted to a prestigious university, Luo Susu couldn't help but feel resentful, which is why she chose to embarrass Tang Wan in front of so many people. Luo Susu's words didn't really affect Tang Wan much, but this was also a good opportunity to once again draw a clear line with Song Jichuan, so she picked up the microphone again, thought for a moment, and then began to speak. Actually, when I decided to return to school and take the college entrance exam, there were countless times I wanted to give up, but every time I was about to give up, I would write a sentence in my notebook: to establish a moral heart for heaven and earth, to secure a livelihood for the people, to continue the lost teachings of past sages, and to open the way for eternal peace. Zhang Zi's 4 sentences of Henku are the driving force that inspires me to move forward, yet, I am well aware that I am not that great, and I cannot show off my limited skills in front of so many outstanding teachers here. Therefore, I can only share my learning experiences with everyone, but if Teacher Luo insists on asking for a reason, I can only say that the world is vast and splendid, and I do not want to be confined to a small corner. I also want to see what Teacher Luo just shared with the students. As for whether I want to make progress together with a partner, I can only answer that the premise for my highly efficient review is just one: once I succeed, I'll cut ties with my beloved. Also, I am currently single. Tang Wan's remark about cutting ties with my beloved once I succeed made the students below burst into laughter, and even the teachers who were listening on the side greatly appreciated Tang Wan's speech today. Once ashore, first cut off the beloved. Sitting in the last row, Song Jichuan whispered these words repeatedly, his gaze filled with infatuation as he watched the radiant Tang Wan on the podium. Such a wonderful Tang Wan, and he had lost her just like that. Since that day, Luo Susu never appeared before Tang Wan again. Tang Wan spent her last peaceful summer at home and arrived in Shanghai when school started in September. Life in Shanghai was vibrant. Busy studies, new friends, and countless training classes filled Tang Wan's days. Only the monthly deposit of 100 yuan occasionally reminded Tang Wan of the past. Since disappearing from Tang Wan's side, Song Jichuan had been sending money every month, along with a steady stream of hometown specialties delivered to Tang Wan's school once a month. Even the girls in the same dormitory were saying how Tang Wan could have such a devoted pursuer. Whenever these topics came up, Tang Wan would remain indifferent and not join in. Over time, everyone understood her attitude and stopped bringing it up. The 4 years of university passed in the blink of an eye. Tang Wan excelled academically and was recommended for postgraduate studies at her university, so, while her roommates were busy preparing for civil service exams or job hunting, she took the time to return home. This trip back was not only to return Song Jichuan's money but also to visit Grandpa Song and Secretary Tang once more. Tang Wan was well aware that after completing her postgraduate studies, she would join a design institute, settle in Shanghai, and never return to the small county town that had raised her for 20 years. Tang Wan returned without alerting anyone. Only on the second day after resting at home did she visit Grandpa Song's house. The old man looked at Tang Wan in surprise, affectionately tapped her head, and playfully scolded her for staying away for so long. Although Tang Wan would call back monthly to report her safety, she never actually returned. Mr. Song also knew that Song Jichuan had never let go of Tang Wan. To avoid putting Tang Wan in a difficult position, he never took the initiative to ask her to come back. Thinking of the incidents Song Jichuan had caused over the past 2 months, Mr. Song sighed inwardly but didn't show it, instead cheerfully sharing a meal with Tang Wan. Tang Wan had also planned to cancel her leave of absence without pay at the military family compound during this return trip. Since she might not come back, it didn't seem right to keep her position reserved. For years had passed, and everything in the family compound seemed unchanged, yet somehow different. With her ID card in hand, Tang Wan quickly passed through security and entered the compound's office. Sister Lin, Tang Wan called out upon seeing Sister Lin in the office. Tang Wan, what brings you back? Sister Lin looked at Tang Wan, whom she hadn't seen in 4 years, and almost didn't recognize her. 4 years of university life had transformed Tang Wan's demeanor from the inside out, leaving her radiant and completely renewed. If it weren't for her familiar voice, Sister Lin wouldn't have dared to believe it was her. Sister Lin, I've been accepted into graduate school and will likely stay in Shanghai from now on, so I won't be coming back. I happen to have some free time, so I came back to take care of some formalities. Sister Lin listened as Tang Wan said she wouldn't be coming back, and thinking of the mess Song Jichuan had caused, she sighed. It's just as well you're not coming back. You're so outstanding now. There's no need to get involved in all this. Tang Wan looked at Sister Lin with surprise. Sister Lin knew that after all this time, Tang Wan should have long since moved on, so she didn't hide it from her. Back when Tang Wan was in her first year of university, Song Jichuan had volunteered to transfer to a special forces unit for a mission, hoping to get promoted quickly so he could be transferred to the Eastern Theater Command, closer to Tang Wan. After Song Jichuan left, Luo Susu's image as a genius scientist plummeted. She clearly had the opportunity to transfer but insisted on staying here, stubbornly waiting for Song Jichuan to return. Half a year ago, Song Jichuan returned with honors and used his military achievements to secure approval for a transfer. Unexpectedly, Luo Susu found out about this and used some means to rekindle a relationship with Song Jichuan. 2 months later, Luo Susu became pregnant. Just as Song Jichuan was on the verge of success, she revealed her pregnancy to the political commissar and demanded that Song Jichuan marry her, threatening to accuse him of rape otherwise. This incident had a negative impact on the military. Luo Susu was immediately suspended from duty, and Song Jichuan's transfer was temporarily put on hold. Now, Luo Susu constantly harasses Song Jichuan, demanding that he marry her. After hearing Sister Lin's gossip, Tang Wan sighed that it was truly a matter of timing and fate, and that Luo Susu was really willing to do anything to win Song Jichuan. As they spoke, Sister Lin completed the procedures. Tang Wan thanked her, left the office, and prepared to head home. Just as she stepped out of the military compound, she saw Song Jichuan standing at the corner of the entrance in his military uniform, holding a lit cigarette. Seeing Song Jichuan again, Tang Wan felt quite calm inside. However, judging by Song Jichuan's stance, she figured that if she didn't approach him, she wouldn't be able to leave today. I heard you're going to be a father. Congratulations. Tang Wan stepped forward. Wan, I was forced into it. Tang Wan nodded casually, then reached into her pocket, took out a bankbook, and handed it to Song Jichuan. This is the money you've been sending me over the past 4 years. It's all here. Since I ran into you today, I'll return it to you. Song Jichuan smiled bitterly. Wan, is there nothing else we can talk about between us? No. Seeing that Song Jichuan didn't take it, Tang Wan directly threw the passbook into his arms. Then, after thinking about what Sister Lin had just said, she spoke again. Song Jichuan, you actually don't understand me at all. You sending me money and mailing things only ever moves yourself. It can't move me. Do you remember what I said to you when I got engaged? Song Jichuan was momentarily dazed. Back when they got engaged, he had been so impatient. How could he possibly remember what Tang Wan had said? Judging by your expression, I can tell you don't remember. At the time, I said I would treat you very, very well. That was for you. But there was another half of the sentence meant for myself. If one day you stopped loving me, I would leave cleanly and decisively. But I never said I didn't love you. If I hadn't been involved with Luo Susu, could there still have been a chance for us? Song Jichuan anxiously hoped to grasp a glimmer of hope from Tang Wan's response. Song Jichuan, if you hadn't been involved with Luo Susu, it's possible we really would have gotten married. Then you would have continued to favor your junior schoolmate, kept neglecting me, and only shown a hint of affection when I was on the verge of breaking down. You're like training a dog, gradually smoothing out all my edges, turning me into a madwoman with a failed marriage. That's what you're best at, isn't it? No, I wouldn't do that. Perhaps Tang Wan's words were too cold, making Song Jichuan's expression grow even more pained. You wouldn't, Song Jichuan. Secretary Song, how did I look when I died in my past life? With a sudden explosion in his mind, Song Jichuan felt a sharp pain in his heart that swept through his entire body, forcing him to bend over involuntarily, yet he still lifted his head, looking at Tang Wan with a deathly pale face. Wan, when did you find out? When, in my freshman year, you sent me a bouquet of sunflowers through someone. You were there that day, right? I like sunflowers, but you don't know that now. In my past life, you only gave them to me after you made me angry. Tang Wan calmly explained how she had discovered the flaw, then let out a malicious laugh. So, Secretary Song, was my corpse beautiful in my past life? By the time you came back, had I already started to rot? This time, Song Jichuan truly couldn't hold back any longer. A mouthful of fresh blood sprayed from his lips, and he instantly collapsed to the ground. The sound startled the sentries on duty nearby. Before they could rush over, Tang Wan uttered her final words. Song Jichuan, those who lose me will lose me forever, in this lifetime. I want to live well, so I hope today is the last time we meet. Then, ignoring Song Jichuan's desperate and pleading gaze, she turned and walked away. Postscript, after returning to Shanghai, Tang Wan smoothly completed her postgraduate studies, went abroad for a year on a public scholarship, and upon her return, became the youngest chief at the Shanghai Design Institute. She then participated in Shanghai's reform and development projects, and her career flourished. I met my lifelong partner at work, married him, had children, and lived a happy life. During this time, she only returned to her hometown when Grandpa Song passed away. Song Jichuan also respected Tang Wan's request and did not disturb her. Song Jichuan's extra story. My first life ended the year after Tang Wan's death, when I passed away from a heart condition. Even though my heart had always been healthy before that, it was just frightened, startled by Tang Wan, who opened the door after returning from a long business trip. So after Tang Wan left, it hurt every night. After Tang Wan left, our affair was posted online by the neighbors, causing significant damage to Susu's and my careers. Everyone started calling us a scumbag and a cheap woman. I didn't mind, because none of it interested me, neither power nor Susu's admiration. It wasn't until a year later, when Susu mentioned marrying me, that I truly realized Tang Wan was really gone. Then I understood that Tang Wan was oxygen, and my heart had stopped beating on its own because of the lack of oxygen. My second life began at the age of 28. Everything remained the same, yet everything had changed. In order to win Wan back, I threw myself into every mission without hesitation, hoping to be transferred to a place closer to her as soon as possible, so I could start over with her. With the memories of my past life, I was confident I could win Wan back again. As for that woman, Luo Susu, I was certain I could handle her too, but I still underestimated Luo Susu. She actually drugged me, forced herself on me, and then came to me with a swollen belly. When I found out that Luo Susu was pregnant, I knew there was no chance for me and Wan, so I was prepared to accept my fate and take responsibility for Susu, but I never expected that Susu would find the remittance slip I sent to Wan. In a moment of losing control, she revealed the truth about her pregnancy. Her child was not mine at all. A glimmer of hope dawned once again. On the same day, I learned that Wan had returned. That day, I stood at the military gate, watching Wan approach from afar, thanking heaven countless times in my heart for giving me another chance. It was only later that I realized it wasn't my chance, but Wan's. The final step she took to draw a clear line between us. This time, Wan did exceptionally well. She got into university on her own, completed her undergraduate and graduate studies with scholarships, and even studied abroad. On the day of Wan's wedding, she looked truly beautiful, wearing a modern wedding dress like an angel, but the angel didn't descend by my side. In this lifetime, I only met Wan once, and she recognized me at a glance. My Wan is so clever, it's just that she no longer belongs to me. After hearing the second story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. I have always considered myself an orphan since childhood, with an uncle Shen who has been supporting me and an older sister, Shen Qingya, who is 3 years my senior. In order to get closer to the sister I secretly admired, I worked hard to get into Shanghai University. However, during my 4 years at university, I lived at my sister's house and did my best to take care of her daily life, yet, my aloof sister always saw me as just a younger brother. In the end, she entered into a marriage of convenience, and her married life was not very happy. While she was busy with work, her husband was keeping a mistress outside. After graduating from university, I left Shanghai, only to be found by my biological parents. However, my biological family had a White Lotus adopted brother, leading to yet another messy and dramatic situation. Anyway, until I died in prison due to my foster brother's framing, I was all alone. The indifference of my family had worn away all my feelings for them and kinship. I hoped that in my next life, I would never encounter these people again. I no longer needed these so-called relatives and family. But after being reborn, I found that the script had changed. Main text. When I was reborn, it was the summer vacation before my senior year internship. There was still 1 year left before graduation. This time, I still planned to leave Shanghai after graduation, but I wouldn't return to the orphanage in Rongcheng, so I wouldn't run into my biological parents. I don't want to stay in Shanghai or go to Beijing. Both places are sources of my sorrow. However, leaving requires money, and I currently have only 7,000 yuan in my card, which is my recent internship salary. To have enough money to sustain my reclusive life after finally leaving, I still need to earn some money. Fortunately, I still remember the memories from my previous life very clearly. When I worked at a bar, I remembered the scores of this year's World Cup matches perfectly. Perhaps it's a benefit of rebirth. Everything that happened in my previous life is etched vividly in my memory, but the clearer I remember, the more determined I am to stay away from These people, after downloading the sports lottery app and linking it to my bank card, my associated bank account received a large amount of tax-free prize money every day throughout the World Cup. During one World Cup season, I accidentally ended up with nearly 300 million in prize money in my bank account. The branch manager of my bank even personally called me to recommend various wealth management and large deposit services. Shinchinya spent the entire summer vacation leaving early and returning late, busy with her company. I knew this was a critical moment for the Shin Group, managed by Shinchinya, to break into the top 50 in Shanghai's business circle. Ding dong, the doorbell outside rang. Today is my sister's birthday, and I still prepared a table full of her favorite dishes and a cake I made myself. This is also the last time I will celebrate my sister's birthday. After the graduation ceremony next year, I will leave, and my sister's birthday next year will have nothing to do with me. But now it's already 11:59. When I opened the door, I saw a man bringing my sister home. I had seen this man in my previous life. He is my sister's university classmate and business partner, Diu, who, like me, is a failure in love, but I didn't pay him any attention, nor did I let him in. I just took my sister inside and closed the door. Diu stood at the door, staring at the door that had almost hit his nose, feeling a bit bewildered. This incredibly handsome younger brother was just too aloof in the room. My sister's behavior after drinking wasn't exactly great, or maybe it was just bad specifically toward me. Still, I helped her back to her own room, laid her on the bed, took off her shoes, and covered her with the air-conditioning blanket. Following past experience, I prepared a glass of honey water on the bedside table to help with her hangover. Shinchinya would need to drink it when she got thirsty while sleeping. The next morning, Shinchinya woke up early and remembered the phone call she had with me yesterday afternoon. We had agreed to have dinner at home, but she ended up celebrating with the company in the evening and forgot all about it. Shinchinya never apologizes or admits defeat. After drinking the honey tea on the bedside table, she took the empty cup downstairs. The dining room had already been cleaned up, and the trash had been taken out by me. The results of my hard work all afternoon, I only took a few bites, were all thrown into the trash. I happened to come out of my room with my backpack, heading to Shanghai University. I greeted Shinchinya and left. Shinchinya found it a bit strange that I seemed different today. She had been so busy this summer that she hardly had time to see me. Shinchinya thought I was upset because she didn't come back to have dinner with me yesterday. She had even forgotten that yesterday was her actual birthday. Shinchinya's birthday was changed during her school years, to start school earlier. The date on her documents was moved up by over a month. Shinchinya thought for a moment and decided to visit Shanghai University at noon, planning to have lunch with her younger brother while she was there. Shinchinya is also a graduate of Shanghai University and is considered an outstanding alumna. At noon, Shinchinya saw me outside my teaching building, where I was being stopped by several girls asking to add me on WeChat. There's also a very beautiful girl confessing to me. Shinchinya inexplicably felt an intense sourness in her heart and couldn't help but step forward to take my arm. I was about to pull my arm away, but when I saw it was Shinchinya, I asked in surprise, "Sis, what are you doing here?" "I came to find you to have lunch together." "What's going on here?" "They're all classmates, don't mind them." "Let's go, sis, I'll treat you to a meal." "What do you want to eat?" "Let's go, we'll head to the small cafeteria. It's been a while since I've had their food, I'm feeling a bit nostalgic." Sis, the small cafeteria changed owners, and now it sells milk tea, fried chicken, and burgers. Then let's go to the one off campus." "Alright." I was pulled away by Shinchinya. However, those who witnessed this scene downstairs from the teaching building posted photos of Shinchinya and me together on the campus website. "What a beautiful and mature woman, I want to know everything about her in 10 minutes. Cut the arrogance from above. If you want to know about that beauty, check the outstanding alumni website. She's ranked 70H. Senior Shen, the CEO of Shen Group, has our campus heartthrob Fu Jingyan been kept by a wealthy woman." I heard Fu Jingyan calls her sister, so the aloof and low-key Fu Jingyan is a rich second generation. No way. From freshman year until now, I've seen Fu Jingyan take on over a dozen part-time jobs. I've never seen a rich second generation who earns and spends their own money. Impossible. One of them is surnamed Shen, the other is surnamed Fu. Fu Jingyan can't possibly be a rich second generation. And so, my low-key campus life was disrupted by Shen Qingya's whim. However, I didn't pay attention to the online discussions. Even when a close friend from my class called, I advised them not to bother with the online chatter, explaining that there was no need to clarify anything and that it would fade away in a few days. In the second cafeteria, We ordered a few tasty dishes and sat down in a corner. Both Shinchinya and I avoided talking about what happened yesterday. Jing Yan, have you found an internship yet? How about coming to Shinsher Group? For an internship, I refused without even thinking. In my previous life, it was at the end of my internship at Shinsher Group that I met Fu Wani from the Kyoto Fu Group, my biological older sister. She recognized me only by the scar on my hand and a red heart-shaped birthmark behind my ear. That scar was from a fall I had when she was taking care of me as a child. It's shaped like a crescent moon, making it quite easy to identify. This time, I don't want to return to that cold, unwelcoming family. Even though they searched for me for over a decade, it was nothing more than an obsession on their part. For over a decade, they adopted a boy around my age named Fu Yen, and the family was full of joy and harmony. Indiana, my previous life, I tried to integrate into the family, pouring all my emotions into each member, only to be repaid with wounds and painful memories. In the end, I was framed by my adopted brother, who accused me of leaking company secrets. Over the course of a year, this white lotus of an adopted brother turned everyone in the family against me. No one would listen to me or believe what I said. Whenever something went wrong, they would unanimously assume I was the one at fault, leading to my imprisonment. My second sister, who was also my lawyer, personally pleaded guilty on my behalf and gave up the appeal. I protested in prison, but my family ignored me, and no one came to visit. Then, someone arranged by my adopted brother staged an accident. I was stabbed in the neck with a sharpened toothbrush, severing a major artery. After losing too much blood and being sent to the hospital, I was reborn. This time, I can't be bothered to go back to that house. I think I can live just fine without parents or family. Before I was reborn, I would have gladly accepted the internship at my sister's company, but now, forget it. And at the company, I'd have to see my sister being pursued by different people. So annoying. Forget it. Besides, I already know my sister doesn't like me, so there's no need to waste my feelings. It's better for both me and my sister, and it won't cause her any trouble or inconvenience. Sis, the school has arranged an internship for me. I won't be going to your company anymore. Thank you, sis. Shinchinya didn't think much of it, mainly because she felt that I wasn't as clingy to her as before today. Actually, Shinchinya's sudden whim today also left me feeling incredulous. The matter of the internship in my previous life was only mentioned when we met at home, but this sudden whim of Shinchinya also allowed her to see how popular Fu Jingyan was at Shanghai University. It was just that the younger brother before her eyes had grown up, and his rejections didn't make the girls feel hurt, as if he was supposed to refuse. The more I refused, the more aloof my rejections became, the more girls came flocking like moths to a flame. However, there were also quite a few girls who made bets on getting my contact information, which left me utterly speechless. For my internship, I found a company owned by a classmate's family to help with the stamping, while I went to Qibao Old Street to buy shops and the connected courtyards, which cost me a total of 1.3 billion. In the end, I purchased 5 large courtyards and 6 storefronts. I continued to rent out the 6 storefronts, while I connected 4 of the 5 large courtyards and converted them into guesthouses. The remaining courtyard was renovated to serve as my secluded retreat. I had been here in my previous life. It was considered an ancient town tourist attraction within Shanghai's urban area, with very good business. I wanted to hide myself, to live in seclusion within the city. In such a touristy place, it was unlikely that Shinchinya or anyone from the Fu family would come to this kind of tourist spot. I entrusted all 6 storefront properties to an agency to rent out, which brings me a monthly income of 120,000 yuan. I studied architectural design, so I quickly drew up the renovation plans for the homestay, combining modern and antique styles, and renovating these 5 courtyards while trying to preserve the exterior of the buildings as much as possible. The renovation of these 5 courtyards took a full year and cost me a total of 40 million yuan. The homestay, composed of 4 courtyards with a simple and rustic exterior, along with an independent private courtyard, features comfortable, modern interiors with all amenities, including a swimming pool. During my senior year, aside from going to school during the day, I spent my time in Qibao ancient town, using the excuse of an internship to keep it a secret from Shinchinya. I didn't tell anyone about the homestay's opening. I simply listed it for bookings on various major platforms. The homestay's location was excellent, with a great environment but not cheap prices, yet, business was surprisingly good. I had also hired a professional management team in advance to help run the homestay. It had a total of 30 luxury guest rooms, 10 family suites, and 6 luxury suites, each designed in a different style. The cafe and restaurant are also managed by professional chefs and service staff. I bought a moderately sized courtyard nearby for these dozen or so employees, which I renovated into dormitories and a staff cafeteria. This year, I earned another 130 million from sports lottery winnings. However, by the end of next year, all the data on various competitions I memorized while working at the bar will have been used up. Still, my savings are sufficient, and the current homestay and shops are enough to cover my expenses for the rest of my life. I gradually acquired over a dozen shops on the old street, which now bring in an additional monthly income of over 300,000 yuan. Even if the homestay doesn't generate profit, the rental income from these shops is enough to sustain its operations. I also donated 10 million to the orphanage where I used to stay and spoke with the old director, telling him I was going abroad. This was a little scheme of mine. I didn't want the Fu family from Kyoto to find the orphanage and learn my whereabouts. In my previous life, when my eldest sister found me, the private detective hired by my parents also located the orphanage where I was staying. This time, I planned to mislead them again, directing their attention abroad, while in reality, I'll be living in seclusion in Shanghai. I feel a bit smug in this life. I just want to live quietly. Family ties and love have nothing to do with me. The graduation ceremony arrived as scheduled. I put on my bachelor's gown and attended the ceremony with my classmates. After taking the group photo, I was about to leave when several girls from my department and others called out to me. They wanted to take photos with me. I was initially inclined to refuse, but then I spotted my sister, who hadn't attended my graduation in my previous life, appearing in the distance. For some reason, I agreed to the girls' request for photos. At that moment, I was still quite happy inside. After all, I no longer held any expectations for Shinchinya. I just didn't know why Shinchinya had come to the school. In this life, I hadn't informed her, and during my senior year, we had rarely met. She was busy with work, and I was occupied with renovating the guest house and my future home. Actually, during this period, I have noticeably distanced myself from Shinchinya. Previously, I would often prepare breakfast, even though Shinchinya never ate it once, but there would always be different nutritious breakfasts on the table when she went out in the morning. It's just that during this time, Shinchinya hasn't seen me at all, and I was so busy during the spring festival that I didn't spend proper time with Shinchinya and her father. My internship work kept me very occupied, which made Shinchinya a bit uncomfortable. However, Shinchinya's father still sensed something. After the spring festival, he talked to me alone, and in the end, he was quite satisfied that I had come to terms with reality. He indicated that he would also help keep my plans to go abroad a secret, but I no longer accepted his financial assistance. In this lifetime, I didn't pester Shinchinya to attend my graduation ceremony, nor did I meet my eldest sister Fu Wani due to my internship. So why did Shinchinya come? Shinchinya suddenly realized that over the past 3 years, she had grown accustomed to my care and attention. This year, however, my internship kept me so busy that I had no time to look after her, which left her feeling a bit unsettled. A couple of days ago, Shinchinya heard from an intern at her company about the graduation ceremony at Shanghai University. It suddenly dawned on her that I, her younger brother, was about to graduate as well. As if drawn by some inexplicable force, Shinchinya came to the ceremony. When she arrived, she saw me surrounded by several vibrant and beautiful girls, all clamoring to take photos with Fu Jingyan. An inexplicable pang of bitterness welled up in Shinchinya's heart. Who would have thought? That little rascal is quite popular. Then again, Jingyan is indeed good-looking, but how come I never noticed it before? Shinchinya still walked over and very naturally linked her arm with mine. Who are you? A girl asked warily. Hello, classmates, I'm Fu Jingyan's sister. I came to see my brother's graduation ceremony. Oh, so you're the beautiful sister our brother Yen always talks about. Meeting you in person today, sister, you're so beautiful, a boy beside her said enthusiastically. Really, Jingyan often praises me at home. Yes, brother Yen often praises you for being beautiful and capable. Sister, you came at just the right time. Why don't you take a photo with brother Yen too? The girl beside her said. Just as I was about to pull Shinchinya away, she suddenly replied, okay. This was a situation that hadn't occurred in my previous life, and I was still a bit excited about it. With the help of my friends, Shinchinya and I took several photos using her phone and mine. The intimate photos of Shinchinya and me looked so harmonious. My friend Qin Feng knew my situation and what was on my mind, so this photo session might have fulfilled a dream of mine. The girl who suggested that Shinchinya and I take photos together was Qin Feng's girlfriend. I was very grateful to them, but I still didn't tell them about my plans after graduation. I didn't want to cause them any trouble. The day after the graduation ceremony, Shinchinya went on a business trip to Kyoto, just as she had in my previous life. After saying goodbye to Mr. Shin over the phone, I left. I specifically took a taxi to the airport, picked up my ticket, and left Shanghai for Country M. Next, I bought a used car from a second-hand car market in Country M without needing to transfer ownership, and then drove it back across the border. I found a smuggling passage I had heard about in the prison from my previous life. At this time, there really were no patrols. It was a loophole. After abandoning the car, I quickly walked through. Soon, I returned to the country, using a new set of identity documents I had bought on the black market while renovating the homestay. I purchased a Land Rover Range Rover and drove back to Shanghai. It took me over 10 days to return to my new home in Qibao Ancient Town. I planned to retire here in the future. What I didn't expect was that Shinchinya had returned to Shanghai ahead of schedule. After discovering I was gone, she ignored her father's objections and hired a private detective to search for me everywhere. The Fu family in Kyoto also found Shinchinya at the orphanage, and upon learning of my departure, they had their hired private detective fully cooperate in the search for me. With the help of the Fu family, my sports lottery winning data and the property I purchased in Qibao Ancient Town were quickly uncovered. I never imagined that my actions would be so easily traceable. Even though I tried to divert their attention, they were still able to find me through the slightest clues. At that time, I was still admiring my newly purchased motorcycle and electric scooter in my new home. Driving in and out of the ancient town is not very convenient, so I parked the Land Rover in the parking lot outside the town to avoid queuing and traffic jams on the way back to my new home. Anyway, the homestay has a long-term parking space in the external parking lot, but I needed a short-distance transportation tool. An electric bike was the first choice. But a very cool motorcycle road racer at the nearby motorcycle shop caught my eye. Not short on money, I naturally added this toy to my collection. The shops in Qibao Ancient Town don't require much of my attention, as I have a commission property rental agency managing them, and the income is very stable. Since the homestay went online, its operations have been steadily improving. The current average occupancy rate has reached 82%, which is already profitable. Combined with revenue from the restaurant, cafe, and some souvenir sales, the homestay is not in the loss-making state I initially imagined it would be. However, my good mood was completely shattered when Shinchinya and the Fu family showed up at the homestay 3 months later. I tried to slip away, but Shinchinya stopped me. I had never seen Shinchinya looking so haggard before, and suddenly, my heart ached for her. After all, in both my past life and this one, Shinchinya is the only person I have ever truly loved. After I left, Shinchinya often had nightmares while sleeping. She dreamed that in her previous life, Fu Jingyan returned to the capital and was imprisoned just over a year later. She wanted to visit him but discovered that her husband was having an affair. In the end, Fu Jingyan died in prison, and she was left with nothing. Both her wealth and her husband were taken by the mistress. The child in her womb was lost, and she eventually went mad. Shinchinya was tormented by these nightmares every day. Unable to sleep well, she couldn't understand why Fu Jingyan would end up in prison in her dreams and eventually die there. Moreover, the Shinchinya in her dreams seemed to be a reflection of her future reality. The key was that the husband from her dreams had recently been collaborating with her family's Shin group, and her father was somewhat persuaded by their family's proposal for a marriage alliance. At this moment, Shinchinya realized I was gone, something that hadn't happened in her dreams. This made her somewhat suspicious, but when the Fu family from the capital came knocking, Shinchinya began to believe in the dream. I faced the 3 Fu sisters without being subservient or arrogant, simply refusing to acknowledge or engage with them. Even when they were fuming with anger, they didn't leave. I never expected that they would secretly collect items with my DNA imprint for comparison and testing. Under the close surveillance of the 3 women, the test report was quickly obtained. The paternity test confirmed that I, Fu Jingyan, was the lost child of the Fu family, the only boy in the family. This result brought joy to everyone in the Fu family, except for my adopted brother, Fu Yen, who was the only one unhappy. If I hadn't appeared, Fu Yen would have successfully taken my place in the Fu family, but just as he was about to enter the Fu group, the Fu family found their long-lost biological son. In my previous life, on the day I was brought back, a welcome banquet was supposed to be held. but Fu Yan deliberately fell from the second floor and broke his leg to gain sympathy and attention from the family. My parents stayed at the hospital all night, and my 3 sisters took turns caring for Fu Yan, who was hospitalized. As for my welcome banquet, the family never mentioned it again. It's just that this time, I don't want to go back to that home from my previous life where I couldn't feel a trace of warmth, even if my 3 sisters come back to find me with DNA test reports. I won't pay them any attention. In my previous life, my foster brother Fu Yan framed me, and they were accomplices. Even after I died in prison later, they never showed me any sympathy. In this life, I don't want to have any connection with them, nor do I want any involvement with the Fu family. It's just that Shinchinya is the only woman I've ever liked since I was young. But just when I truly gave up, you appeared before my eyes again. Why is this script a bit different from the one in my previous life? My parents and my adopted brother also came from Kyoto, booking rooms to stay in the guest house. They were not allowed to enter the courtyard where I lived, except for Shinchinya. Over the past 2 days, she used her authority as an older sister to forcefully move into the backyard under the pretext of taking care of me. In the guest house, my adopted brother Fu Yan once again unleashed his White Lotus skills, trying to win sympathy and pity from our parents. However, this time he chose the wrong place. This guest house is my territory. The public areas are filled with surveillance cameras, and even the courtyard where I live is monitored. Fu Yan's self-inflicted suffering left him hospitalized for a week with no one visiting him. Nevertheless, the Fu family arranged the best hospital room, treatment, and nursing staff for him. Fu Yan's White Lotus skills have reached new heights, but even if he combined them with the Green Tea Man's tea art skills, it would be useless. Plus, I have no desire to acknowledge the Fu family at all. With no desires, I stand firm. All of Fu Yan's tactics only made the Fu family feel dissatisfied and angry with him. Soon, Fu Yan left in disgrace, and the recent farce finally came to an end. The only thing I couldn't understand during this time was Shinchinya's unwavering support and defense of me. In this life, the Fu family didn't criticize me once, unlike in the previous life. Could it be that changing the setting also changes people's emotions? It seems I was right not to return to Kyoto or the Fu family. In this life, I have my own money and can earn it myself. My life is comfortable, so why should I go back to the Fu family in Kyoto? Why bring trouble upon myself? Isn't it better to live a good life? Soon, my father and my 2 older sisters left as well. They were busy with work and didn't have time to stay long, but my mother and my 3rd sister, Fu Wanqing, remained. I understand my mother. My disappearance was also a knot in her heart. Later, after adopting Fu Yan, she poured all the guilt she felt for me into him. Now that she has found me, she truly doesn't want to be too far away from me. What I didn't expect was that my 3rd sister, Fu Wanqing, who in my previous life always mindlessly sided with my adopted brother Fu Yan, constantly blaming me for everything, and even helped count the money after Fu Yan sold her out, would also choose to stay here. My mother and Shinchinya often spend time together drinking tea, constantly asking about my situation. However, many details about me were overlooked by Shinchinya. Looking back now, Shinchinya realizes just how deep my feelings for her as a younger brother truly were. But the emotions I now show toward Shinchinya are merely those of a younger brother toward his older sister, which makes Shinchinya feel very uncomfortable. Soon, Shinchinya's ex-husband from her previous life also came looking for her. It turned out that the 2 families had arranged a blind date. But Shinchinya didn't show up. When Shinchinya's father learned that she had found me and was staying at my place, he couldn't help but sigh and let her be. After all, his daughter's happiness was important. However, Shinchinya's blind date was not pleased, being stood up for a blind date. According to his temperament, he would usually not bother with Shinchinya again, but he had seen her in person. Shinchinya's beautiful appearance made him fall in love at first sight. He insisted on coming to find her and created a sensational scene of courtship at my doorstep, which was recorded by passers-by and uploaded online. I was at home at the time, dragged out by Shinchinya to serve as a shield, but looking at this guy in front of me, thinking about how in my previous life he kept a mistress and made Shinchinya's life miserable, I couldn't help but feel furious. The key point is that now he's causing trouble at my doorstep, so I got into a scuffle with him and even slapped him twice. In the end, after the scenic area security arrived, this guy muttered a few harsh words and scurried away. The security guards and I are familiar with each other. I'm practically the hidden tycoon of the ancient town, with storefront properties all over the place. The key is that the guest house I run is the best in the ancient town, while others can't fill their rooms at 200 yuan a night. My 2,000 yuan rooms have guests lining up. not to mention the family suites and luxury suites, which are fully booked every single day. After the security guards helped drive away that disgusting guy, I took a few packs of cigarettes and shared them with the brothers. They've always treated me well, but this is all thanks to the goodwill I've built by being generous and considerate in my daily life. During this time, I've been making a living in the ancient town, and I've handled the social dynamics here quite well, at least in this town. I can rally people with a single call, and I won't be bullied here. Various topics about the two families and the group have been heatedly discussed, and of course, I, the unlucky one, got dragged into it as well. However, news about me and Shinchinya was quickly suppressed. I know the Fu family was behind it, they have the power and capability to do so, but I won't feel indebted to the Fu family. I just want to live my life, and they can live theirs. However, I really dislike, how Shinchinya often shows up at my place, even taking over my master bedroom and studio. Isn't she busy with work? But seeing Shinchinya and third sister Fu Wanqing argue over who is my sister, and third sister's frustrated expression, I was actually quite happy. Perhaps it was because I firmly refused to return to the Fu family, and my lonely childhood in the orphanage touched the hearts of third sister and the others. I think in my previous life, they must have felt the same way when they found me. But it slowly faded over time. Damn Fu Yan. However, in this life, my resolute refusal to acknowledge my family and return to the Fu family deeply moved them, amplifying their guilt toward me. Besides, without returning to the Fu family in the capital, which is Fu Yan's familiar territory, anything he does is futile. Nothing Fu Yan does or says can cause any harm to someone who is determined not to return home and acknowledge their family. It will only make the Fu family think that Fu Yan is being unreasonable and deepen their sense of guilt toward me, but that's not what I need. I just want to stay as far away from the Fu family as possible. In this life, I won't return to the Fu family or go to the capital, no matter how much Fu Yan stirs up trouble. It has nothing to do with me. Whatever Fu Yan tries to do, I won't take the bait. Let's see what else she can do to me. Besides, I also know the technique of walking the path of the White Lotus so that the White Lotus has nowhere to go. Anyway, during this time, every time Fu Yan has tried to stir up trouble, she has gained nothing. On the contrary, everyone in the Fu family has distanced themselves from her. Even though third sister went to the film set to shoot, and second sister and eldest sister took turns staying at my homestay, I never took the initiative to contact them. It's just that they wore me down, and my heart grew softer, but I still insisted on not acknowledging them and not going to Kyoto with them. Shinchinya also noticed Fu Yan's issues and gradually understood why I ended up in prison in the dream and why I insisted on not returning to the Fu family now. As an observer, Shinchinya gave my three sisters the most sincere advice, to stop bothering me, but my sisters were unwilling, especially eldest sister, since it was she who took me out when I got lost back then. Day by day, many interesting things happen in the ancient town. The coffee shop at the guest house has now become the hub for all kinds of information in the town, and I hear plenty of gossip every day, including quite a bit about my sister. Shinchinya and her blind date have been at odds, and people in the ancient town often see him pestering her, only to be stopped by the bodyguards around her. One day, Shinchinya insisted on dragging me along as her driver to attend a friend's wedding. That evening, I saw her blind date actually bribing someone to drug Shinchinya. I broke the wine glass, protecting Shinchinya from drinking the drugged wine. As a result, I ended up in the hospital after being beaten by people arranged by Shinchinya's blind date in order to protect her. I was unconscious for 2 full days, and everyone from the Fu family rushed to the hospital. The family of Shinchinya's blind date was bankrupted and acquired by the Fu group within 26 hours of my hospitalization. That blind date was also personally sent to prison by Shin's father, and with the unfavorable evidence uncovered by the police, he is likely to spend the rest of his life behind bars. Shinchinya stayed by my side for 2 days without sleep, constantly talking to me. After I woke up, she smiled and fainted into my arms. From then on, my relationship with Shinchinya changed. I no longer wanted to call her sister, and she got used to calling me by my name. Our relationship has grown even stronger, and the road racing bike I bought has become our exclusive ride for evening dates. Shinchinya really enjoys leaning against my back as we head to various destinations, and our heartbeats seem to sync together. However, the increasingly neglected Fu Yan, hoping for a better life in his next reincarnation, still followed the same path as his previous life by stealing the Fu family's business secrets and selling them to their rivals, only to end up shooting himself in the foot. Fu's father and his eldest sister, Fu Wani, were extremely dissatisfied with Fu Yan, at the request of his second sister, Fu Wanrong, the Fu Corporation installed many hidden cameras, which coincidentally captured Fu Yan in the act of stealing business secrets, and not just once even. After finally sending Fu Yan to prison, and with the Fu family and Fu Yan signing a severance agreement, I still had no intention of returning to the Fu family or going to Kyoto. Unable to do otherwise, the Fu family moved the headquarters of the Fu Group to Shanghai, bought a row of townhouses in a corner of Jiangnan Yufu near Qibao ancient town, rebuilt the walls, and opened a door closer to my homestay. I was pursued and confessed to by Shinxinya, and we finally registered our marriage a year later. At the time, it was one of the most lively wedding ceremonies in Qibao ancient town, causing a huge stir online. I thought I was just a lucky guy, but after the news broke that I was the biological only son of the Fu Group, the screen was filled with all kinds of praise. I know this was deliberately leaked by the Fu family, essentially publicly acknowledging my identity. I didn't resist it fiercely. Instead, I tacitly accepted it. Everyone in the Fu family seemed quite surprised by this, but soon, they were even happier because I brought Shinxinya to serve tea to my parents as a daughter-in-law. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.